Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have a couple of relationship stories for you, both with updates. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Lala Vandella Tulip. Ex-fiance wants to catch up after he left me at the altar. How do I proceed? Well, exactly what the title states. Also, I'm writing this on mobile, sorry for any formatting issues. My 28 female, ex-fiance Derek 32 male, disappeared the morning of our wedding 2 years ago, evading all attempts to reach him from myself and his family. It was devastating, absolutely soul-crushing. The event turned into a party to distract from the pain of the unknown. Afterwards, I returned to our apartment and slept on the bathroom floor in my wedding dress. It was quite the ugly sight, to be honest. His mother ended up coming to the apartment when she informed me tearfully that Derek had run off with an ex of his. They had apparently reconnected a week prior to the wedding, and he just couldn't go through with it, opting instead to rekindle his relationship with his ex. His family was horrified. I didn't hear from him until 3 months after he left. He called me, apologized, and then revealed that his ex had been hiding his child from him that he just found out about. He wanted to be with them. That's pretty much all that was said. I didn't say much. Actually, I think I only said hello. The whole situation left me numb. I just didn't care anymore. Thankfully though, my friends were and continue to be there for me. Through all of this muck, they encouraged me to seek therapy and work on healing, which I'll be honest was terribly difficult. But after a year, I felt myself again. Which brings me to today. After this whole debacle and subsequent self-improvement and rebuilding, I moved to the UK, originally from Australia, for a change in scenery. Last night, I got a message request on Instagram. It was Derek. Hey, I've heard you moved to Wales. That's so cool. I'm traveling to Cardiff towards the end of July. I'm deeply sorry about everything, and I want to discuss what happened leading up to the wedding. I hope I'm not overwhelming you. Let me know if you'd like to talk over lunch. Firstly, no idea who told him about my move. Secondly, I don't know if I crave closure from him, but I also don't want to decide to decline, only to later on regret my decision. So I turn to you, strangers of the internet. What should I think about before reaching a decision? Would it be wise to decline, or should I humor him and listen to his reasons? OP put in a minor update. It says, okay, minor update. Wow, this garnered far more attention than I anticipated. So bear with as I try to navigate all of your advice. Although the general consensus is quite clear, I have learned that an old mutual friend of ours revealed where I moved. And evidently, he's been stressing that he needs to tell me something. For the time being, I have decided to simply ignore his message and work through any emerging feelings with my therapist. Thanks. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called I Am No King. It says, there is no excuse in the world good enough to explain away what he did. Here are some of the options he had. Call you, the woman he was going to marry, and talk to you about the situation. Talk to his parents. Make an appointment with a therapist. Basically, talk to anyone he trusted about finding out he had a child and was thinking of being with his ex. Postpone the wedding while things get figured out. He chose not to talk to anyone though, because he knew what he was doing was unbelievably sick and wrong. Not that his feelings were wrong, but the fact that he was going to abandon you and embarrass you in front of everyone you both loved and knew. Let me make this clear. Instead of calling anyone and canceling the wedding, not even a cowardly text message, he let you get ready, get your makeup done, put on your darn wedding dress, and let you think that day was going to be one of the happiest of your life. He put your parents in a position to see their daughter so high and happy and full of love, then utterly destroyed. He put his family in the position of having all eyes on them, their cowardly son nowhere to be seen. What he is doing now is one of two things. One, he realizes he made a mistake and chose the wrong woman all those years ago. he misses you and he thinks he can get you back after his unforgivable actions. 2, he is only contacting you to make himself feel better about being an utter butthead. Please do not give him the satisfaction. Alright, OP added an update to this one. It says, update, hi. So as I mentioned previously, I decided to not respond to his message. A day after I received another message from him, which I won't write out in its entirety. To sum it up, he apologized for how disingenuous his previous message was, and explained why he had reached out to me. Essentially, he wanted to discuss that week, that final week before our wedding, and why he left without discussing it. I'll be honest, I'm going to refrain from going into detail about our whole stories here, but I will say my ex-fiance, thank you for the correction by the way, has been diagnosed with avoidance PTSD from past experiences. I feel for him, but I told him that I still couldn't move past being left in a state of limbo for 3 months. Irregardless, ultimately I agreed to meet him, and I don't regret it. He's not with his ex. I found she's actually since passed away, which is part of the reason that she reached out to me, and yes, the child is his. The lunch was short, and in the end, he handed me an envelope, which contained all of the money we spent preparing for the wedding. In all honesty, it was cathartic for me. I've often feared that I'm still subconsciously harboring feelings for him, but the lunch proved I didn't. I've closed that chapter of my life with him, with the woman I was, and now I'm free. Thank you all. So many people in the comment section for this one were telling OP do not meet up with him under any circumstances because you don't need that closure in your life. Well, OP was going to do what OP was going to do and met up with him anyway. It looks like it turned out for the better. OP, just don't let him wiggle his way back into your life. You said you don't have feelings after that meeting. Keep it that way and push him out, because now that you have the closure you need, you don't need him in your life at all. This story comes to us from AITA Social Media Dad. Am I the butthole for losing my patience and saying hurtful things to my wife due to her social media usage? Hey everyone, I feel terrible about this, but I also sort of stand by what I said. My wife, 34 female, and I, 32 male, have been happily married for 8 years. We have 2 kids, 6 and 4. Until recently, we've been able to effectively divide our household chores and parenting duties equally. About 6 months ago, my wife's TikTok and Instagram algorithms started showing her content that's primarily been involving criticism of men, particularly in terms of their contributions to marriages, parenting, and chores. I'm all for constructive discussions about gender roles and stuff like that, but the content I've seen from her account takes it to an extreme, stereotyping all men as lazy and neglectful. In the past few weeks, my wife began posting her own content about our personal life, portraying me as a negligent and uncaring husband and father who doesn't pull his weight around the house. I was really hurt when I saw these posts on our account, particularly because she has close friends and family members on both sides who follow her account and are reaching out to me, asking me if everything is okay in our marriage now that she's posting her own content and not just reposting other videos she finds. Not only was her content way inaccurate, but I feel uncomfortable opening up these elements of my personal life to all of our friends and family, let alone strangers who have found themselves engaging as well. I've attempted to discuss this with her. She shrugged it off and accused me of being insensitive to the struggles with women and not understanding her need for an outlet to vent. I completely lost my patience in front of the kids. I told her she was being an effing keyboard warrior, more interested in getting clout from toxic women online than the reality of our life. I also told her she was being an ungrateful dickhead and spreading lies about me and our marriage. As soon as I called her a dickhead and seeing her reaction to what I was saying, as well as hearing my daughter starting to cry, I regretted it. She looked more sad than angry with what I was saying, and she just sort of shut down and hasn't spoken to me since, outside of very minimal conversations about breakfast or plans for the kids. I feel like I have a right to be upset about what she's saying on social media, but I think I took it way too far. I really don't know how to approach the rest of the discussion we obviously need to have. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Owlman17. It says, "Not the butthole." A lot of replies here are calling OP the butthole for losing it in front of the kids without trying to understand the feelings behind the behavior. From OP's post, it looks like the wife is unwilling to have a discussion, yet keeps posting on social media for everyone to see. I have a few friends that subscribe to the idea of the manosphere, and it looks like the female version is doing the rounds these days. Boggles me how people fail to see the perspective from the other gender. Another commenter down below called Murphy's Law 4200 said, "You definitely could have handled it better and not in front of the kids, but you're not the butthole. If my wife was trashing me on social media and our friends and family were seeing it, I would be absolutely furious. I think I would leave for at least the night if I found that out because I couldn't stand to be near her. Ugh, hope you get this worked out." Okay, I get that discussions and arguments shouldn't be done in front of kids. I agree with that, and you try to keep it away from them as much as you can. In reality, houses are small. Even if you're in a different room, the kids are still probably going to hear you, but don't do it right in front of them, because that's just not good. OP, your wife is getting a dopamine hit every time somebody comments on one of her social media posts, agreeing with what she's saying. And that dopamine hit, it's working like a drug. We also need to address the fact that your wife doesn't respect you. She's posting things about you that are making you look like a butthole to everybody you know. That, for me, would be a case of, I need to get out of this relationship. OP posted an update, let's get into that and see where this went. Alright, OP's update's titled, "Update, Am I the Butthole for Losing My Patience and Saying Hurtful Things to My Wife Due to Her Social Media Usage." I don't really know where to begin. A lot of things happened really quickly, and I'm super emotional and need to use Reddit as a sounding board again. I told myself I wasn't going to do this again, but I'm just finding that I need more direct realism from strangers rather than just people patting me on the back. I'm pretty sure my marriage is over. I don't know. I sat her down to talk to her about it again, this time away from the kids, and a lot more confident that I was going to keep my cool. I prefaced the conversation by saying I didn't want this to be an argument. I just wanted to get to the bottom of this behavior and wanted to explain how it was affecting me and how other people view me. Pretty much the moment I began talking, she shut me down, and I don't know if what she did is gaslighting or if she's having some sort of mental break, or maybe a wizard came down and magically hypnotized me for the past several months and I'm just now coming out of it. Basically, she said that everything she is saying on social media is true, and that I have no right to police what she does or says online. I decided my best course of action would be to try to challenge her on the "everything I'm saying is true" part by breaking down the chores for her and showing the division of labor. In fact, I used the same list I typed up in a comment from my previous post, which is here. Me, take the kids to school, pick them up from school, cook dinner, clean up and dishes after, lawn duties, adult laundry. Her, sweep and mop the house 2 times a week, kids' laundry and towels and linens, dusting the common areas, breakfast for kids, packing daily lunches and snacks for kids, maintains finances. This is what she does for a living. Together, folding and putting away laundry. Weekly house cleaning day where we go from room to room with the kids to set good housekeeping examples for them. We alternate bath and bedtime routines for the kids. Bathroom cleaning, she takes the half bath, I take the master, and we both take the kids together. This is how she responded to all of it. Take the kids to and from school. Wow, you sit in a car for an hour? Great job, Dad. Cook dinner. Cooking is your favorite thing to do, so it's not really work. Dishes afterwards. Oh, you clean up after yourself? Do you want a cookie? Lawn duties. So you spend an hour away from the kids every weekend? Next. Laundry, paraphrasing. This is also the bare minimum. It was at this point that I noticed how everything I'm doing is the bare minimum and expected of me, while she expects to be treated like a hero and martyr for doing her chores. I found this to be highly transactional and adversarial for really no reason. I asked her why she was only bringing this up now instead of communicating with me, and she didn't have a real answer. Something to the effect of, "It's not my job to teach you things you should already know," which I'm paraphrasing, but the discussion got really heated at this point. The discussion had spiraled completely out of control, and she started to pound the table, and at one point threw her mug into the sink so hard that it broke. Things had gotten completely unproductive, so I went to go wake the kids up from their nap and take them to a friend's house for the day for things to calm down. I went into their room and started getting them ready, and when I walked out into the hallway out of view of the kids, she came from around the corner and sucker punched me, and screaming that I guess because I was taking the kids out for the day, that I'm weaponizing them and manipulating the situation to make her seem crazy. I don't even remember the small details of what happened next. The kids were scared. I eventually got them into the car and left. I went to my friend's house who already knew everything that was going on. I just stayed there for a bit while the kids played with his dog in the backyard. A few hours later, the police show up at the house. Thankfully, she didn't make any insane accusations like I feared when they pulled into the driveway. Essentially, she just told them that I took her kids without her permission, and told them where I was. They told her that they can't do anything about me taking the kids because I'm their custodial father. They came to sort of tell me what was going on, and to let me know what they talked about. I did not tell them about her punching me. But I'm just done now. Barring a serious neurological disease causing the issue, there's no conversation that I can have with her that will allow me to get past all of this. My friend agrees with me. My marriage is over. I'm calling a lawyer tomorrow, and I'm going to be as low conflict as I possibly can to get this all over with and move on with my life. That's all I can do. Thanks for listening. Jumping into the comment section on this one, OP posted an update to this story. It says, responding to the top level comment with a response to some popular sentiments. Sorry for not answering questions sooner. I found that getting all of this off my chest and talking on Reddit wasn't really helping. I just found myself wallowing in the situation. So I got off and just hung out. Apparently, my wife went to the hospital for something, stayed there for a few hours, and is now back home. We texted a bit, and it seems like she's beginning to understand the gravity of the situation. For everyone telling me to file a police report, I'm going to meet with a lawyer tomorrow and take their recommendations first and foremost. They're most likely going to recommend I file a report, but I don't know that I'm ready emotionally to take these steps. Despite the fact that our relationship was deteriorating, this all happened really fast. This went from a solvable, annoying problem to my life as I know it has ended. So everything I do feels heavy, and every decision I make is going to have a severe, long-term ramifications for myself and the kids, and I'm just trying not to take that lightly. The punch wasn't so much of a punch, more like a, not sure how to put it, maybe like a push made with her fist. It didn't hurt, I was just in shock for the most part. I didn't really know what to do or say, so I just removed myself from the situation. When she did it and got done screaming, she looked like she didn't realize what she had done, then proceeded to let me take the kids. I know I said that there are several things that I'm not going to be able to get past, but I can't shake the feeling that something about this situation is off. It didn't make sense a few months ago, the big fight still doesn't make sense, and the situation is only getting worse. Is she suffering from some sort of mental break? What the F is happening to my wife? OP added another update. It says, update as of this afternoon. I spoke with the attorney that I set the meeting for this morning. We started discussing the paperwork, the fees, and basically everything I need to initiate a divorce. He did recommend I file a report with the police, just like everyone else did. About 2 hours ago, my mother-in-law called me. She had been speaking with her daughter for a couple of weeks and was already worried that her daughter had been having an episode similar to the one she was having when she was younger. For those of you who had missed it in the comments, she is openly bipolar, but it's well controlled, and she hasn't really had an episode in many years, for lack of a better way to describe what she believed to be mild anger issues. Anyway, after our last fight, my wife called her sobbing, saying she doesn't know what's wrong, and that we just had a fight that spiraled out of control, and now I'm leaving her and taking the kids. My mother-in-law said she was going to fly into town and told her to go to the hospital in the meantime if she's afraid of hurting herself or anyone else. So she called the police to tell them what was going on, not to report me for kidnapping the kids as I previously thought. Also based on what the police officer told me, which was just false, I guess. And then she went and checked herself into the hospital for short-term psychiatric care. She was evaluated and determined not to be a danger to herself at that time, and was sent home with an anti-anxiety medication and a referral. Her mom and I talked for a long time, and she started talking to me about her episodes and how they would present themselves, and to be honest, it sounded a lot like what's been going on. Apparently, my wife was noticing something small or insignificant, her mom's words, and then the anger would spike, and there would be a chain of different thoughts in a weird progression that ultimately ends up being angry at something that didn't really happen, but could happen. I'm not really sure I fully understand, but I listened and appreciated her telling me. Not that I really know what to do about any of this. I can say right off the bat that I'm not as angry about her punching me as you all are, especially if she is having an untreated manic episode, realizes it, and tries to work on it. I'm going to take a few days to process this with my kids. My wife knows how to contact me if she needs to, but it seems like she's been giving me a lot of space, especially since she spoke with her mother. Thanks for reading, everyone. I guess I'll update with a post later on with what happens this week. I wouldn't get your hopes up over something juicy or entertaining, as I would like for this all to be over so that we can all move on with our lives. Alright, I'm really not sure how to process this one in my head because half of me is going, okay, she's having a mental breakdown and OP needs to help her get through this and maybe they can rekindle everything. Then the other half of me says, she said really horrible things about you to everybody online, including random people, your family, and your friends, and she believed it. So what would you do in this situation? Would you proceed with the divorce and just cut all ties right there? Or would you try to make things work and make sure she gets the help that she obviously needs?